Okay, today we are here to discuss the problem of how it is that we can energize and excite ourselves and our organizations every single day, despite the fact that oftentimes in the day, it can feel like the things that we're doing are low impact or monotonous or not that interesting. A CEO of this incredibly innovative tech startup asked me how it is that you solve this. And so there are three ways we go about this. I'm going to share this on the whiteboard, but let's think about, as I'm transitioning to the whiteboard, where this surfaces. Let's say you're an engineer, and all throughout the day you are coding, and it's oftentimes hard to feel excited about and energized by the work you're doing as a coder. Or let's say you're an executive and you're in back-to-back meetings all day long. It can sometimes get de-energizing and draining. And so how do you maintain that excitement? So there are three ways. Let's go about this like this. So first, one, we want to create meaning in the impact of our work, the what it is that we're doing. And as executives, it's our job to do that for our organization and to invite and even make it the responsibility explicitly of every individual in the organization to begin doing this for themselves. And the reason why is that every single professional has different values, different motives that excite them based on where they are at different points in their lives. And so even the organizational impact may not resonate with the individual impact or motivators that every professional in the organization needs to have activated to stay excited. So it's not either or, it's a barbell approach. As a leader, you do it for your organization, your team, and you make it the responsibility explicitly for every professional that reports into you in the organization to do this for themselves. And now, I want to be clear that there is the tendency for many organizations to stretch the attempt to create meaning. So in Silicon Valley, the series on I think it's HBO, there's this meme of what are we doing? Well, we are changing the world and making it a better place, one compression algorithm at a time. That is incredibly, it's truly stretching the attempt to create meaning. Sometimes you need to think more about what you're doing in a different way. So for instance, I was asked as an executive to speak to graduates or those who are about to graduate from the MBA program at Columbia University with a concentration and a focus on the field that I was an executive and a leader in. One of the first questions I was asked was, what is it that is so meaningful about this industry, which was advertising, digital advertising, that drew you to it and keeps you there and keeps you excited every day? My answer was, honestly, I am not energized or excited about digital advertising. I'm not even sure that the work that I do makes this world a better place. But this is why I'm here and what I'm energized by. I personally am energized by being a part of an org and a business that is trying to solve and is solving some of the most difficult problems in this space. I'm not interested in playing checkers. I like to play 3D speed chess. And that is what gets me excited. Taking the biggest, most complicated Rubik's Cubes and solving them with some of the smartest people that I've ever met. That's what gets me excited, solving incredibly difficult problems for people that need those problems solved. That is the impact of what we are doing here. Whether I'm making people's lives individually better or the world a better place, that's a stretch. But the impact of what we're doing is we're trying to build one of the most innovative, exceptional businesses to solve some of the most difficult problems. So you don't necessarily need to create this existential meaning that is very social impact oriented. right? So let's be clear on that. Let's move on to the second thing that you need to do. So how do we think about this? The second thing you need to do is to, I'll say, create meaning in a separate way, which is in being, which is the how that you do the what. What do I mean by this? This is activating values. And this is why it's so important to create organizational values. But again, as a leader, you need to make it the responsibility and the explicit ask to all those that work for you to think about their own values, who they want to be as they're achieving these results, as they're working towards them. So for instance, the question is, what do you want to become more of? More of, better at, to learn. And then as we are pursuing these objectives, in my case, as I'm pursuing the winning role in a competition of three-dimensional speed chess, who I want to become more of is X and Y and Z. So even if my progress towards that goal, the what that I'm doing, feels slow and almost immeasurable in meeting after meeting after meeting, what I do know is who I'm being, the things that I'm learning, the things that I'm getting better at, how I'm coming across, that can be activated in every single meeting, in every single thing that I do. And it's the responsibility of every employee in an organization to think about their values and what's important to them and who they want to become. In fact, there is a great chapter in the Leadership Challenge, one of the absolute best books on professional leadership that must be read, on values and the increase in performance and retention and job satisfaction when the individuals in an org are clear on their personal values, even more than when they're clear on the organizational values. So make sure that this is something that is activated. Lastly, after creating meaning in the what, the impact of what you're doing, the mission of what you want to accomplish, and meaning in the being, who we are as an organization and who each of these people are as people and professionals, individuals, what you want to do is to create play. And what I don't mean here is the ping pong table that's in all the tech startups or things of that nature. What I mean is you want to create ways by which the menial or the seemingly menial tasks and things that we do on the day-to-day can be made into a game of achievement. All of us love fundamentally and feel gratified by getting better. There are very few people that went, wow, I got better today, and that doesn't feel good. And so how can you create what I'll call like high scores for yourself and have your team do this for teams and healthy competition? Let me give you an example of this. So when I was in college, freshman and sophomore year, I worked one of the most menial jobs for me at the time, which was working in a distribution factory. We distributed like pet supplies all over the country. And so for 8 or sometimes 12 hours, I would receive an order and I would have to go through the warehouse and pick these things off the shelf and bring it back to the place where it was then eventually loaded onto a truck. Okay. How do you remain excited and not want to just go nuts doing something like that over and over and over again for 8 or 12 hours? What I did was I began finding out how many orders I could crush and complete in a day or an hour. And my job was to figure out how to get better and better at doing that and increasing my quote unquote, my high score. Were there faster routes to me getting to certain parts of the warehouse? Things of that nature. And this was the interesting part. Not only did it make it more interesting to me, but I was achieving more and more by trying to beat my high score. Eventually what happened was the management saw the levels of achievement, despite the fact that I had no interest in this, and promoted me to the coveted role of forklift driver, which was what everybody wanted to become. My point here is, I took something incredibly nominal, incredibly menial in its impact and in its personal value, and I gamified it for myself. And I started to get better and better and better until suddenly I was lifted up by those around me to the higher levels of responsibility, even though it still felt menial at the time. Whether it was in the data entry job that I was in as I was in undergrad, later, and working in my internship, or any place, even today, I gamify everything that I'm doing and try to achieve a little bit more. And that makes sending invoices fun. How fast can I get this out the door? How fast can I record and edit this video? So these are the three ways by which you can create energy and excitement. First, create meaning in the impact of what you're doing. Secondly, create meaning in the being, the how you go about it for your organization and yourself on both of these things. And thirdly, encourage and create play, the kind of play that is achievement oriented, that helps you level up and find creative ways to do the nominal things faster and better and better. My question to you as an individual professional is how it is that you will do these three things for yourself. How will you do these three things for your team? How will you encourage all of the people in your organization to do these things for themselves? Answer that question, spend 15 minutes or however long this video is going to be doing that for yourself and your organization. Why? Let's get back to why. The impact of doing this is, first, you have an entire organization of people that are working and achieving better results because every day they find ways to stay energized, even in what feels rote. Secondly, well, this is an incredible best practice of the highest performers, which is to inject meaning in what you do. And my assumption is if you're watching this, the how you want to be, the person you want to be is somebody who's always looking for that edge and ways that you can get better and better and better. And lastly, there's something that you can do and there's a way by which you can make figuring out how you do this week, take even 15 minutes amongst your busy schedule and achieve that goal of just taking 15 minutes and doing this. That might be a stretch. All of this might be a stretch. My point is find time, stretch and find time to do this, okay? I hope this was all right. This is the one take effort today. That was my goal, was to record this in one take. I think I've accomplished it, achieved it. With that, thank you for watching. I encourage you to reach out with questions if you want more of an understanding of how it is that you can implement and operationalize this in your organization. Give me a holler, a DM, wherever you're seeing this. If you've liked this video, then like it, thumbs up it, wherever you're watching it, share it with somebody you think it would be useful for. And until our paths cross again, I wish you the very best in your efforts to become the most effective executive you can possibly be. Cheers.